2 minutes ago, the historic flood in Zermatt, Switzerland left the residents utterly astonished. Welcome everyone to the latest episode of Top Secret. June 21, 2024, Zermatt, the sparkling gem nestled in the heart of the majestic Alps. Dragged into a terrifying nightmare as the savage flash floods and landslides struck like a curse from the heavens. The road was swallowed deep by the floodwaters, forcing the train to halt its wheels, leaving the entire town completely isolated, trapping the people in utter terror. The storm arrived unexpectedly, merging with the floodwaters from melting snow, turning the gentle rivers into roaring, ferocious monsters, threatening to erase all traces of life. Can the villagers of Zermatt withstand this devastating destruction? Stranded in the Great Flood, Zermatt, a small town nestled at the foot of Switzerland's majestic Alps, has long been likened to a breathtaking natural masterpiece, where luxury ski resorts blend seamlessly into the serene natural beauty of the mountains. But on June 21, 2024, that idyllic scene suddenly vanished before the fury of nature. The raging floodwaters surged through the town, transforming this once peaceful oasis into an isolated land amidst a vast sea of water. The Wispa River, the Rhone River, and the Chiefbach River flowed gently through the heart of the town. Now, they have turned into murky, raging mud streams, violently dragging along soil, rocks, broken branches, and countless scattered debris. Heavy rain persisted for many consecutive days, compounded by rapid snowmelt due to a sudden rise in temperature. The river water is rising at a staggering rate, threatening to sweep away everything in its path. The entire state and territory where the town of Mat is located had to declare an emergency as multiple rivers in the area simultaneously exceeded safe levels, causing severe widespread flooding. The power grid failure occurred suddenly, with almost no warning signs beforehand. The single road connecting Tak to the cool zone is the town's vital traffic artery. This section of land suffered severe landslides due to rocks and soil forcefully sliding down the mountainside. Boulders the size of cars, along with torrents of mud from flash floods. Every path was tightly blocked, turning the cool hours into a fortress besieged by nature. The railway lines, which were the primary means of transportation for tourists and locals to the town, have also been completely suspended. The Gothard Railway Company announced that R40, G41, and G42 trains on the Visp-Zermatt route have been cancelled due to flooded tracks, making train traffic impossible. To ease the difficulties for residents, replacement buses have been arranged to transport passengers from Visp to Tak. However, no vehicles can enter during peak hours. This situation left the town, which relies heavily on tourism, completely isolated from the outside world, as if sealed tightly inside a paper envelope. The mountain people, accustomed to a peaceful life and the majestic scenery of the highlands, suddenly witnessed a chaotic reality crashing in. The ancient cobblestone streets, once bustling with the footsteps of beaming tourists, were now submerged in murky floodwaters, becoming impassable pathways. The small shops, luxury hotels, and cozy eateries that were the soul of the town were forced to close as floods swept in, carrying away goods and devastating infrastructure. Though accustomed to harsh winters with thick blankets of snow, the locals were still stunned to witness their town endure the most severe flood in recorded history. Some people recounted hearing the distant roar of rushing water, as if the entire river was howling in fury, heralding an impending disaster. Those sounds blended with the howling wind and the rumble of rocks tumbling down the mountainside, making the air feel suffocating, as if time were slowly counting down to an unimaginable disaster. The consequences of the flooding are not limited to just one locality but have spread across the state and neighboring regions. The surrounding areas, from small villages to larger towns, also could not escape flooding and landslides. The tourism industry, one of the region's key economic pillars, has suffered severe losses due to the mass closure of resorts and popular attractions. Tourists flock here to admire the legendary beauty of the Matterhorn, but now they are stranded in nearby towns or forced to cancel their travel plans. Many local residents expressed concerns that this disruption could persist, affecting their lives and work in the near future. Amidst the chaos, the resilient and steadfast spirit of the people gradually became evident. Stories of human compassion in times of disaster, from sharing food to rescuing victims, have become a warm light amid the devastation of the tragedy. Statewide emergency status and response measures. The devastating destruction of the floods has forced state and federal authorities to declare a state of emergency across the entire territory, a decision that clearly reflects the severity of the disaster. According to local authorities, more than 230 residents have been evacuated from hazardous areas, particularly those near major rivers such as the Rhone and Vispa. More than 200 firefighters from 25 different teams across the state have been mobilized to respond to the emergency. They worked tirelessly, braving harsh weather, from rescuing people trapped in floodwaters to assisting in evacuating residents to safe shelters. Those firefighters, with their courage and strong sense of duty, became symbols of hope amid the storm of flames, bringing comfort to the frightened people. The Rhone, one of Europe's major rivers, flowing through Switzerland and France, has become the epicenter of a disaster. The Rhone River is rising to record high water levels, triggering severe floods that are inundating both densely populated residential areas and key industrial zones. The Vispa River, an important tributary of the Rhone, worsened the situation during peak hours as floodwaters spilled into streets and residential areas. The floodwaters from these rivers not only submerged major roads but also triggered a series of landslides, particularly on the routes from Stanton to Zermatt and from Vispa to Mayo. A section of road running along the left bank of the Rhone River, from the Ritz des area to the Bildren hydroelectric plant, has been completely blocked due to flooding and landslides. This incident has severed a major transportation route in the region. After the harsh winter, the melting snow and ice have made the situation worse than ever. Meteorological experts noted that the amount of snow that fell on the Alps mountain range last winter was above average, forming massive snowbanks clinging to the slopes. When spring temperatures rise sharply along with prolonged heavy rains, the rapidly melting snow causes river water levels to surge. The land, already saturated with water after days of prolonged rain, became even more prone to erosion, triggering a series of severe landslides across states and neighboring regions. The narrow mountain roads have now turned into dangerous traps as rocks and soil cascade down the slopes, blocking the paths and making passage nearly impossible. The local authorities and government agencies swiftly implemented emergency measures to ensure the safety of the people. Residents living on the ground floor near the river area must quickly move to higher floors to ensure safety and avoid the risk of being swept away by floodwaters. The authorities have issued a strict ban, prohibiting residents from approaching the banks of the Rhone River and its tributaries, including the Chablais area in the canton of Valais. The ban will remain in effect until Monday evening to ensure safety, as the river water level is still at a dangerous threshold. The authorities have issued a strict warning, urging people to absolutely avoid parking on bridges or deliberately taking photos or videos of the rivers, as these actions pose a potential risk of causing accidents. The Civil Defense Force has been deployed to monitor hazardous areas, ensuring public compliance with safety regulations and preventing reckless actions that endanger lives. The impact of the disaster goes beyond just disrupting traffic or causing floods. The agricultural regions in Valais, which primarily rely on fertile riverside lands, suffered severe damage as floods swept away crops and destroyed irrigation systems. Hydroelectric plants, such as the Bildren plant, also face the risk of damage from the pressure of flash floods and debris flows. However, the authorities and people of Valais have shown a strong determination in dealing with this crisis. Community centers were opened as shelters, providing food, water, and warm blankets for evacuated residents. These initial efforts have sparked hope that Zermatt and the Valais canton will soon overcome the disaster's aftermath and move toward a more resilient future. The rescue race in the heart of the Great Deluge. On June 21, 2024, the town of Zermatt and surrounding areas in the canton of Valais, Switzerland, became the focus of emergency rescue operations after being hit by severe floods and a series of major landslides. The firefighting teams, civil defense forces, and volunteers tirelessly raced against time in extremely harsh weather conditions. Small boats were dispatched to the deepest flooded areas to rescue people trapped in their homes or stranded on rooftops amid the sea of water. However, the raging floodwaters, carrying mud, broken branches, and countless debris, turned every rescue mission into an extremely dangerous task. Many firefighters confided that they had to move each step with extreme caution, as even a single moment of carelessness could lead to a catastrophic accident. The sound of flowing water babbling blended with the whispering wind and the rumble of rocks tumbling down the mountainsides, creating a tense atmosphere as if nature itself were testing human resolve. In other areas of Valais Canton, from small villages nestled on mountain slopes to larger towns, rescue teams faced similar challenges. The area between Lausanne and Brig experienced severe railway disruptions due to floodwaters submerging the tracks, preventing trains from passing through. The Swiss National Railway Company, SBB, announced that the route from Ritesh to Acton has been completely closed, and this situation is expected to last at least until Saturday morning. To minimize inconvenience, replacement buses have been deployed to assist residents in traveling between nearby areas. But travel remains extremely difficult as many routes are severely damaged or deeply submerged in floodwaters. The authorities are regularly updating new information and have instructed residents and tourists to remain in place, awaiting further guidance expected to be announced at 4 p.m. on June 21st. These announcements, despite their urgency, still failed to ease the anxiety of those in quarantine, when they had no idea when they could return home, or even whether their home would still be standing. The Civil Defense Force plays a vital role in helping people overcome difficulties. They not only assisted in evacuating people from dangerous areas but also distributed food, water, and warm blankets at temporary shelters. Community centers, schools, and churches across the state of Valais have been mobilized as temporary shelters for hundreds of evacuees. These places are typically destinations for lively events like fairs or festivals. Now, these places have become temporary shelters, offering safety and a bit of comfort to those enduring the pain of loss. However, an air of anxiety still hung over everything. Many people, though evacuated to safety, still cannot stop longing for their homes, places that may now be submerged or severely damaged by the floodwaters. Stories of loss, from precious family heirlooms to small shops that were the livelihood of entire families. The air in the shelters grew stifling, though faint glimmers of hope still flickered thanks to the community's aid. Rescue efforts go beyond just bringing people to safety. Rescue teams must ensure sufficient essential supplies for evacuated residents, including hot meals and dry clothing. Many volunteers, including local residents who were not directly affected by the floods, enthusiastically joined the relief efforts. They brought food and essential supplies to the aid centers. Many NGOs quickly coordinated with authorities to allocate resources effectively. Those efforts, no matter how small in the face of the immense disaster, still bring immense encouragement, making people feel that they are not alone. Stories of courage always move us deeply, such as the image of a brave firefighter swimming through raging floodwaters to rescue a child. Or a volunteer staying up all night to distribute warm blankets, becoming a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. A deep-seated heartache and an unyielding desire to rise above. The devastating flood in Zermatt on June 21, 2024 not only caused severe material damage but also left deep emotional scars on the hearts of the local people. Many families lost everything. Generations of accumulated assets, from their warm homes to the small stalls that were their primary livelihood. The tourism industry, the economic lifeblood of Zermatt, was severely impacted when road and rail routes were disrupted, leaving tourists unable to enter or leave the town. Luxury hotels, cozy restaurants, and souvenir shops, which were always bustling with visitors thanks to year-round tourism, now face the risk of continuous losses. Many local business owners expressed concerns not only about the immediate damages but also about the future, as the tourism industry may take a long time to recover. The Swiss federal government has raised the danger warning level for the Rhone River, also known as the Vaughan River, from the Visp area to Lake Geneva to level 2, the second highest level on the warning scale. This situation indicates that the risk of flooding remains present due to incomplete control measures, especially as rainfall and snowmelt show no signs of subsiding. Environmental experts confirm that climate change is making extreme weather phenomena, such as heavy rainfall or unusual snowmelt, occur more frequently and intensely. This disaster serves as a stark warning. Mountainous regions like Zermatt, despite being sheltered by the grandeur of the Alps, can still be ravaged by nature in an instant. Scientists warn that building infrastructure near major rivers, while economically beneficial, carries increasingly high risks due to unpredictable weather patterns. However, amidst countless losses and challenges, the people of Zermatt and the entire canton of Valais have demonstrated admirable resilience and courage. Stories of human kindness in times of disaster spread everywhere, from locals willing to share food and shelter with strangers to volunteers tirelessly working to support rescue teams. Local parishes regularly hold prayer sessions, helping to ease anxieties and bring spiritual comfort to those who are troubled about the future. Despite losing their homes and possessions, many residents remain steadfast in their belief that they will join hands to rebuild Zermatt, making the town more resilient than ever. A local resident shared with the volunteers that while floods may sweep away homes, they can never extinguish the spirit of unity within the entire community. Community organizations also play a significant role in helping people overcome hardships. Numerous volunteer groups have carried out practical activities such as distributing food, clothing, and personal essentials, while also providing emotional support to those struggling to cope with the pain of loss. The initial reconstruction programs were planned with support from both local authorities and the federal government. These efforts include repairing damaged roads, restoring railway operations, and providing financial support to affected businesses. Though the road ahead is long and arduous, the unwavering spirit of Zermatt's people, along with the collective efforts of the community and authorities, is rekindling hope that the town will soon restore its former beauty and vibrant vitality. Though devastating, the flood disaster demonstrated the strength of human compassion and the resilience to overcome even the harshest of challenges. From the ashes of disaster, new hope rises again. The devastating flood in Zermatt on June 21, 2024, was a stark warning of nature's unpredictable power. At the same time, the incident also provided valuable lessons on how to prepare for and respond to natural disasters. The historic flood, with its raging waters and a series of landslides, has left devastating consequences for the town of Zermatt and the entire canton of Valais. To prevent similar damages from happening again, the Swiss government needs to focus on heavily investing in preventive measures. Strengthening the dike system, upgrading transportation infrastructure such as roads and bridges, and improving the early warning system are the top priority tasks. It is necessary to accelerate research projects on the impacts of climate change, the cause behind the increasing frequency and intensity of extreme weather events, to better predict and mitigate risks. These efforts not only help protect the people but also contribute to maintaining long-term stability for mountainous regions like Zermatt, areas particularly vulnerable to environmental changes. Although the people of Zermatt have demonstrated admirable resilience in the face of disaster, they still need help to rebuild their lives. Many families lost their homes, property, and livelihoods, especially those dependent on the tourism industry, considered the backbone of the local economy. Local and central governments are planning financial support for the people, ranging from interest-free loans to resettlement programs, to help them rebuild homes and revive businesses. Additionally, psychological support services have been implemented to help people cope with the trauma of losing loved ones and their anxieties about the future. Community organizations, churches, and volunteer groups are actively organizing activities such as psychological workshops and social gatherings to strengthen solidarity while spreading an optimistic message that Zermatt will soon recover and be full of vitality. The flood story in Zermatt is not just about loss, but also a testament to the community's courage and solidarity. Despite nature's harsh challenges, from violent floods to landslides from the high mountains, the people of Zermatt remain resilient, standing strong through unity and mutual support. Noble gestures such as sharing food, opening arms to welcome strangers, or the relentless sacrifices of rescue teams and volunteers have become a warm light that dispels the darkness in this bleak picture. The will to rebuild, along with support from the authorities and the international community, is fueling hope that Zermatt will not only recover but emerge stronger, continuing to shine like a precious gem in the heart of the Alps.